Welcome back to my channel, everyone. Today I've got something extra special for you, a mega video pack with all of my favorite DIY Pottery Barn dupes for this fall season. If you love high-end decor but want to do it on a budget, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. And FYI, there is a video in there that you have not seen yet, even if you watched all of these before. So check this out. I'm just going to move my camera out a little bit. This is a perfect shape. It was exactly what I was looking for. I don't obviously love the sunflowers. At one point in my life, I would have loved the sunflowers, but I am way over that. Now, the inspiration for this, I actually saw on Instagram. From a lady that was showing her kitchen, and she had this vase. I did take a screenshot of it, which I will insert it here. I'm not sure how much her particular vase costs, but I know they range in hundreds of dollars at a Pottery Barn, especially this size. So for this, I'm going to be using several different colors. So I'm going to be using charcoal chalk paint by Rust-Oleum, Annie Sloan white wax. I'm also going to be using a gilding wax by Annie Sloan. So I know I did promise you guys I was gonna add a cornstarch into this paint, but I'm looking at the vase that I'm trying to replicate and the texture of this vase, and it really doesn't need any more texture. So I will insert a video where I have used chalk paint in the where I have used cornstarch in the chalk paint and the texture that it had come out with, so you can check that out in case if you really wanted to see that. I'm going to use my other paint for chalk brush, just because the other one is covered with green, and it's this one, and I did pick this one just on Amazon, and it was very inexpensive. Did I pick this one? I think so, yes. So I'm gonna give this a full coat of the charcoal paint. And did I tell you I got this for $5.49? I did take the price, $5.49 at Value Village. The coverage is phenomenal. So it's fully painted now, and I'm going to let it dry. Probably gonna have to touch up areas where my hand's gonna touch it, but as you can see, it's showing up a little bit, but don't worry, we're not gonna put another coat, but we will be doing other things to it. So the vase is pretty much dry, so I'm going to use the white wax. So this is what that looks like. You could also do dry brushing with white paint if you wish so. So I just put a whole bunch on my brush. I'm going to try this one. Hopefully it will work, but you don't want to have too much. And this side is drier, and then I'm going to just brush it on in all the opposite directions, swirl it. Could also take a towel and just gently rub it on. I'm gonna get some more. You can apply more in some areas, less in the others. Depends on how you want it to turn out. Now this is not a finishing wax. It does not work the same way as finishing wax. I know somebody had left me a message one time, but I think they were not understanding what type of wax this was. This will not protect your piece, like if you're doing furniture or anything like that. Typically, I do not wax my vases and stuff like that. You totally could if that's what you want. I usually don't. If you can really see the effect, but it is really pretty. See, it's still a little wet here, so I am going to just show you now what I'm gonna do on this side, just because there's another technique that I want to do with the gilding wax. I'm going to add a little bit of it on there because that's what the picture did show as well, and then I can play around a little bit more with the, if I want to add a little bit more white wax in certain areas or not. Just trying to figure out which would be the best brush to use. So I'm gonna just squirt some of this on. To add it to the bottom as well, and there's a little crack here at the bottom which I thought would look really good right there. It's not cracked all the way through, it's just more like a chip. Looks really good. And I'm going to add, just because I can see right here, I would like to add a little bit more white paint. I mean wax. I'm just giving it a gentle brushes. There, I'm gonna do the same thing here. Like I said, you can totally do this with white, dry brushing white paint as well. It will give you a very similar look. Maybe not the same finish to touch, but the look. And I'm just trying to get rid of like where you can see like there was almost a brush stroke. So I just try to blend those in. And I'm going to show you here as well. So if you don't achieve the look that you're going for, you can take your brush that you use to paint it, because it probably is still dirty from the paint, and you can just add a little bit of paint to certain areas. Again, just rub it in. Really, it is just playing around and getting what you want out of it, and blending. It's like applying eyeshadow. Blend, 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 blend. So I'm going to finish, probably do the same look on the other side. So I must say I'm quite impressed with the way this turned out, and what a saving for $6 versus 100 to 200 to what I would have spent if I bought it brand new. And I love the way it turned out. For my next project, I'm going to be making a wreath. Wreaths can be quite expensive, especially from high-end stores, and as you can see, this one at Crate and Barrel is $239, which is way out of my price range. I absolutely love the look of it, and I was very excited when I found these flowers from Dollarama, because I thought the leaves were very much the same shape. The color is a little bit different, but that's okay. It's still very much fall color, and I kind of like the burnt orange look. So these were $3. I did purchase 7 of them. I did only end up using 5 of them, so $15. The wreath form on the wreath from Crate and Barrel is a grapevine wreath form. I couldn't find one that was reasonably priced, and I had this one on hand that I got at Dollar Tree for $1.50, so I thought this would work just as good. I'm going to also use some wire as well as some hot glue to attach these stems. So I did cut the stems off just to make it a little bit easier to work with, and I'm going to be adding stems all around on all the wires. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, so 4 different rows of flowers, and I do have a bit of a color variations with the stems that I picked up. Some are burnt orange and some are more like the burnt green color. So I think it's going to look really nice once I am all done. And this cost me, so I got 5 stems at $3, so $15, and then the wreath form was $1.50 plus some glue, so well under $20 with tax. And I'm very, very excited how it turned out for the same size wreaths. I think I did really well. I would love to know what you guys think. As I mentioned, I used both hot glue and a little bit of craft wire. In some spots, I just added craft wire to hold it in place while the hot glue, so that gave hot glue a chance to work. But in some areas, I did just use the wire because I was able to wedge it in with the other stems that were already in there. I love making wreaths. I love using wreaths in my decor. I have done many wreaths on my channel before, and I have to say this was probably one of my favorite ones. The way it turned out, it's just so, I think, classy and not tacky at all, and I just love it. And if you really wanted to achieve that burgundy look, you could always get like a plum color paint and paint all the leaves that color. I think that would look good and work good as well, and that way you would really come close to duping the one from Crate and Barrel. But I was quite happy with these colors. I love these colors and using them all throughout the house, and I was left over with 2 stems, which I think I will definitely be using in a vase or maybe creating another DIY. So once I was gone all the way around with these stems, just really trying to make sure that there's no bare spots and trying to like I said, fill in, and I was going the same direction, so all the leaves were kind of drooping the same to the same side, so that way it's a little bit neater. But then once I went all the way around, I did cut some of the stems in half, and I was just filling in the bare spots, so that way there was nothing, no patches of like holes showing through or empty patches of empty spots. And so you could also wedge these into where the wire is, or you can even put a little bit of hot glue on it and then stick it in there. It will stay in place. My wreath was going to be used inside, so I wasn't too worried about wind damaging it if it was left outside. And once everything was covered the way I liked it, I just went around and just fluffed up some of the leaves that were maybe pushed down, pulled them out so they're all nice and fluffy. And also you want at this time to get rid of any hot glue that might have been left on the little strings from the hot glue. And here it is. I absolutely, like I said, love it. I think it's one of my favorite wreaths I have made on this channel. I just love how folly the colors are. And here is the reminder of what the original looked like. So as you can see, the leaves are quite similar to the leaves that I used. The color is a little bit different. Obviously not a little bit different, a lot different. But I love it nevertheless. Buying is this Mercury pumpkin or gourd. I thrifted this a couple years back. I think it was like $3, and I've used it in my decor quite a bit, but I am just finding I think last year and even this year I am not reaching for it. I love the shape of it. So I thought, well, might as well give it a new life before I decide to chuck it or give it to somebody else. I'm pretty sure I can give it a new life, that I can still use it for a couple more years. So back at Home Sense, I did see one that I really liked. Now it was wooden, but I really liked the way it looked, and I thought I can definitely make this out of this one. Right away when I saw it, this one came to my mind, and I thought for sure I can make this look very similar to that. Also wanted to share that I found a similar item at Pottery Barn at $84 regular price, on sale for $67. So this is a pretty good savings for an item I was going to throw out. So back to painting, and this time I'm going to be using Annie Sloan chalk paint in Old Ochre, I think. It is a very creamy, almost beigeish white. This is what that looks like. And I'm going to use the chalked white paint. So I'm going to take this outside and spray paint it, and then I'm going to come back. I'll show you the spray painting process as well. I don't know if you can see, but there's condensation in the pumpkin because it is like 42 degrees outside. Probably not the best time to spray paint. So here it is, all spray painted. I did not spray paint the top. I'm going to do something different on the top, so I just left it, which gave me the ability to actually hold it up. So I'm gonna let that dry. So I am back with this one. It is completely dried to the touch anyways. I think it's mostly dry. It is dry. So now I'm going to add the Old Ochre chalk paint, and I'm going to go right into the crevices with, or on this, well, I'm gonna try to go on the side of the crevices, but I'm not sure that I will be able to actually. Might be just easier to go into the crevices. And I'm not adding a ton of paint. It's more of a building process. You can build up to it while the paint is sliding off. Don't think it's quite dry in some areas yet. So I'm just gonna dab it on. So I was going to talk to you guys about why I haven't been here for so long. So if you're not following along on Instagram, you probably missed it, but long story short, I used to do home daycare. Then in 2021 I took a break for about 18 months, and I decided to go back. So I went back into home daycare in March. It took me about just under a month to fill up, and I've been going strong ever since. It has been a bit of an adjustment. I did go get licensed through the region. In Canada, well, in Ontario anyways, you cannot hold a daycare license yourself. You have to go through a licensing agency. So I decided to go through the region. So it's been a bit more work in a sense of paperwork and just making sure that certain things are running properly in the house. Not that those things weren't important before, but there's just some areas that, let me just be quite honest with you, that I think are a little bit ridiculous, but you know, you have to comply. So so like I said, it's been a bit of an adjustment for me again, and I am a creature of routines and habits and all that stuff, and when something throws a wrench in it, I tend to takes me a while to kind of get my bearings back up, and I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but just to, you know, get things back up and running again. I know it's doable. I've done this with daycare before, and with other businesses running alongside of it, so I know that I can manage to do it. It's just trying to figure out what works for me. And also I had a big adjustment with sleep time. Before I used to have, you know, 2.5 solid hours that I could concentrate on other things while the kids slept, like maybe cleaning the house or working on editing a video and stuff like that. I did have a child that did not nap, and she was a little bit I could not leave her unattended or unentertained at all. So that kind of took away that time from me. So, but she is starting school in next week, so I am getting the time back because everybody else does nap. So I am hoping that I can get some editings done, and then probably do recordings at night, just like I'm doing this one, and then go from there. Just wanted to let you guys know that that is what's been going on. I'm just trying to figure things out and what works and what doesn't work. So I think that turned out really, really nice. It does really increase the little depths, but I'm feeling like I need a little bit something else. I'm thinking, what if I, once this dries again, took a dark wax and just added a little tiny bits into it. Maybe that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to actually use the dark wax for the little stem anyways, so I'm gonna work on that while the chalk paint dries. Kind of like the way this turned out. It almost gave it a kind of a bronzish look. I don't mind that at all. So I think that's looking kind of nice. I might have to use some paint at the bottom. So I'm going to continue doing this all around, and then I'll show you what it looks like and see if I fix these little cracks or if I'm just going to leave them as they are. I'll probably add a little bit of white paint to them just because they're not looking very nice. Okay, so as you saw, I went over the dark wax to fix some of those scrape offs with the old ochre, and I think that turned out really good. I can't wait to show you in the daylight and with all my decor. I just love the way this looks. I think it's gonna match perfectly now in my decor, and I couldn't be more happy. The last DIY that I'm going to be working on has to be my favorite, and we are going back to Pottery Barn, and I'm going to be recreating this leaf. So it is called the brass leaf object, and this can be on its own or it can fit a candle in there. So I was quite excited when I picked up this leaf thrifting for $2.50. But if you cannot find that one, there is this one at Dollar Tree for $1.50, which I think would work just as well. Because I always feel like chances of finding the exact same thing that I thrifted are very slim. So I like to give you another choice or another option that you could use. So I was going to use an acrylic paint on it. Again, it wasn't really doing the coverage that I wanted, so I went ahead and spray painted it, and I do have a heavy duty fan right above me and a window. It was raining outside, so I just wanted to get it done, and the color that I was using was metallic gold from Michaels. And then I went ahead and added some black antiquing wax to it once it had dried, and just used a brush to add by dabbing it, and then I did go ahead at the end and just kind of did some brush strokes through the wax just to blend it all in. I absolutely love with the way it turned out. I think it's going to look fabulous with my fall decor, and like I said, this is definitely one of my favorites, and as you can see, the color and everything looks pretty close. I know the shape is a little bit different, but I think it gives you the same idea. I have also decided to share a reel of the leaf that I purchased at the Dollar Tree. I created a reel DIY, and I haven't shared it on YouTube yet, so you get to see it the first time. But it's just to give you another option if you cannot find the leaf like I did at the thrift store. This is a solid option for the dupe. Let's make a Pottery Barn leaf dupe for just $1.50. I picked up this aluminum leaf tray at Dollar Tree for $1.50, and I start by spray painting both sides of the tray with this metallic gold spray paint. Make sure to get full coverage and let it dry completely. Once dry, I grab some antiquing wax. I am using any Sloan in black and a clean brush. Brush lightly, blending as you go to give it the perfect aged look. And there you have it, a stunning Pottery Barn look for a lot less. The first project that I'm going to be creating, I have a tremendous savings here for you. I did pick up this vase for $5, but this is not the item that I'm going to be duping. Over on Pottery Barn, I had found this vase, this look actually, the vase with hydrangea bundle, and the hydrangea bundles here is $70, but I really love this whole look, and that's what I'm going to be recreating. So as you can see, my vase was a little bit taller and a little bit thinner, but I think I can achieve that same look. Now for the hydrangea flowers, I did get mine out of the garden, and if you let your hydrangeas dry in a vase, they will get that dusty green look to them a little bit, and they do last for quite a while just sitting in a vase with no water or anything like that. But I did look over on Amazon, as well as I've seen a couple of the one Temu had a few for a lot less than just than $70. I think the most expensive one was on Amazon Canada for about $40, but you get a much larger bundle. So look around your garden. You might find the fall foliage that you like, and it looks really nice in your vase. So to get this vase painted, I am going to be, so as you saw, I mixed white and creamy color paint. This is chalk paint, so it's a lot thicker. I was going to add flour to it to make it even more thicker, but my cream colored old ochre chalk paint was pretty dry, so it was actually quite thick, as you can see. The reason why I mixed the two colors is because the old ochre was too yellowish, and the white was too bright. So I just wanted to kind of tone down the brightness of the white. So that's why I mixed them. And I am applying a fairly thick layer because I want that thickness to show in the vase. So I forgot to mention that I will leave the links to the Amazon hydrangeas that I found in the description box in case if you wanted to venture out and get some for yourself. Also Dollarama, if you're located in Canada, I've seen hydrangea flowers there as well. I've never seen them at Dollar Tree, but definitely at Dollarama. At Michael's store, I did not see that color, although I do know that my mother-in-law had gotten herself some hydrangeas like that a while back, so it's worth looking into it. I was just checking on the website. I think making over vases is one of the most affordable ways to add those look for less high-end dupes to your decor, because they tend to be a lot cheaper at thrift stores, and usually you can find the style of them like the high-end stores have them, and with a little bit of paint you can achieve that high-end look. So right now I am just trying to blend, so there's none of the brush strokes are showing, and I'm just using a crafter sponge to do that. Since I like to show you everything, I will show you this step as well, but I do find that this did not really add much to the vase. I wanted to just darken the certain spots just a little bit, but I didn't want to go too much with this brown because I feel like it has a bit of a purplish tinge to it. So I went really, really lightly just to dab on, but you can completely skip this step if you wanted to and just move on to the next step. And the next step is optional as well. If you want, you can just leave it at this point, or you can go and get some dirt and get dirty. My camera ran out of space, my card, so I had to resort to my phone. So here we are. So all I take is before the vase completely dries, I just add some dirt to it, sprinkle it. You want this to be, for this particular project, you want the dirt to be dry. I've done projects where the dirt is wet and then it just kind of paints everything, but then you can't sprinkle it on and the vase has to be dry. So I let this dry completely, and then once it's dried completely, I take a brush and I just brush the dirt off and kind of try and blend it in a little bit. And that's it. And now I went out to my garden and clipped some hydrangeas, added them to my vase, and here it is on my shelf. I think it turned out so nice, and I think it's a pretty close dupe for the one at Pottery Barn, and for a lot less. Moving on to my next project, I have had these pumpkins now for a while, and they've been just sitting in my bin. This one that I'm cutting out is from Dollar Tree that I have painted, and the next one is from the thrift store. That was actually one of my very first fall DIYs that I've ever made on my other channel, and I've painted it in duck egg blue. I'm going to be recreating this look. I absolutely love these candles from Pottery Barn, but at over $100 for a small one, I think it's just a little too pricey. And I'm going to be achieving that look by getting these tea light candles, the battery operated tea lights that I picked up at Dollar Tree for $1.50. So my project cost me $1.50, but if you were to get the 2 pumpkins from the dollar store, it would be extra $3. So again, another project that's coming in under $5, and this is for 2, whereas that's a price for 1. So I think this is a great savings again, and you can get pretty close to that look. So the first thing that I'm doing is I'm just going to cut out holes big enough to fit my tea lights. Now, I was originally going to paint these, but I am quite happy with the color that they are at. I will be whitewashing them just to achieve that look that the Pottery Barn candles have. But I think that will be the extent of this project. There's not a lot of involvement, but if you wanted to paint these, you can definitely paint them any color you want. They don't even have to be the colors that the Pottery Barn has if those colors don't suit your decor. But you definitely want to make sure that you cut the holes big enough that you can stick those tea lights in tightly so that way they don't fall through. But they're not hard to take out because you're going to want to be turning those on and off. So once the holes were big enough for my tea lights, I went ahead and mixed my white paint with some water. And you want this to be fairly watered down so that way you can just brush the paint on and then clean it off. And I will just use a rag to wipe it off. This is a fairly easy thing to do, and I'm adding the paint into the creases, and then like I said, I'm going to blend it or wipe it off with a rag. So I just want to say, if this is your first time stopping by, welcome. My name is Sonja, and here on this channel I share tons of different high-end dupes as well as furniture makeovers, and I am very excited for what the next few months what I have in store for you guys for next few months. So I would love it if you considered subscribing and becoming a part of my YouTube family. I am so very pleased with the way these turned out, and I can't wait to start using them in my decor. And I love the fact that the Dollar Tree tea lights flicker a little bit, so it kind of gives it that even more that high-end look. So for my next DIY, I am going to be recreating these pumpkin pillows or fabric pumpkins. They don't necessarily have to be pillows, depending on which size you go for, I guess. As you can see, they range from $42 to $59. Mine was free since I went into my stash of different fabrics, because I have a laundry basket full of fabric scraps under my table, so I just wanted to grab something that would work. The ones on the picture are more of like Sherpa almost style, which you can totally create that with blankets. You can find lots of blankets, different styles of blankets at thrift stores. Dollarama carries blankets as well that you can pick. I actually picked one up for my fall decor that I'm going to be styling with just recently for $5, which I thought was a pretty good deal, and that's pretty much what they range in price at the thrift stores as well. So I had found this piece of burlap big enough for what I was going to do. So I'm just going to hot glue 2 sides, but you want to hot glue 3 sides. I just folded mine, so that's why. But if you have 2 pieces that you're attaching together, you want to have them glued on 3 sides and leaving one open. Then once you have hot glued them and they are no longer hot and the glue had set, you want to turn it inside out, and then you want to go ahead and stuff it. Now, you could stuff it with many things. I have done similar projects where I just took plastic bags and I stuffed it in because I had lots of plastic bags. That is no longer the case since we don't have plastic bags anywhere. But I did have an old pillow with some stuffing in it. The only problem that I ran into, the pillow stuffing is kind of stuck together and it was really hard to separate and make it kind of form. I think if you were to buy brand new pillow stuffing, it would be a lot more fluffier. But I made it work regardless. So once you fill it as much as you want to fill it, you can have it firmer. You can have it also more like softer. That is totally up to you. So once you fill it, you grab the top and you bunch it up, and then this is where you tie it up shut. And then you're going to take some rope and just wrap it around so you can create those pumpkin lines. And this is a great time to manipulate the stuffing as well and kind of make sure that all the little grooves are the same size. Mine was giving me a little bit of a hard time, but I think I did do a pretty good job at the end. And once you've got your pumpkin the way you want it to look, you're going to work on the stem, and for that I was using nautical rope, and I started at the bottom and wrap it all the way around the top. I also cut my top a little bit just because I thought it would have been a little too long. Put the hot glue at the bottom, like the starting point of the start, and then I finished it off with the hot glue at the top. And then you can also manipulate it, kind of bend it any way you want to. It will bend. And here it is. I think it turned out really nice. I do like it. I think it's gonna go great with my more natural decor that I'm going for this fall. And like I said, you can use any fabric that you want for this. I'm going to be actually recreating a look, and I'm going to be using this picture that my friend gave me, but she thrifted it for $6. And the look that I'm going to be recreating is from Pottery Barn. I love the color of this vase as well as those Aspen tree branches. Now, as you can see, the tree branches are on sale for $45, but the vase is $212. So a little out of my price range. Well, not just a little out of my price range, a lot out of my price range, but I figured I could probably achieve the look with a little bit of creativity. So I'm going to start off by painting this picture. I originally was going to use acrylic paint, but the shiny surface I would have had to apply maybe a Mod Podge or something first, so I've decided, after I saw that it wasn't really working, I've decided to just go ahead and paint it with some chalk paint. And I also added a little bit of flour to the chalk paint to thicken it even more, to give it that almost like stone look. Now continuing with my first DIY project, so I'm going to give this one coat first. I'm going to let this coat completely dry. As you can see, it is covering it, but it's still some of the stuff is showing through, so you'll definitely need one more coat after this one. So it's all painted, just adding finishing touches, and I did add a little bit of paint on the inside, especially the part that's going to be showing. So I'm going to let this dry, and while that's drying, I did go out into my garden and I got a couple branches. These were all dried up, so I did not cut any fresh ones, ones that were still had leaves on them. So I'm going to be adding my own leaves, kind of trying to recreate that branch look. I picked up these leaves at Dollarama for $1.50, and I picked up 3 packages. I did only end up using 2 of them, and I did make 3 branches. So since the branches were free, and the leaves cost me $3, I think that's a significant saving. I know that it's not exactly the same look. You can definitely go and see if you can find the exact same leaves. You could even use tissue paper if you can't find leaves. I think that would work as well. But this was gave me the look that I was going for, and I do love these maple leaves. They're not overly. They have a really nice color, and you can also paint these leaves if you wanted to, let's say, have burgundy leaves and create more of that floral look, florals that are so popular right now. You could even kind of go that route as well. So I'm going to be using the just hot glue to attach these leaves. This does take a while to do, and make sure you don't burn your fingers. I did a few times, so be very careful. Probably some sort of a heat-resistant gloves would definitely be very helpful here. But I think the little bit of burning your fingers is well worth the way this ended up looking. Since it's such a repetitive work, I did only show you one branch, but like I said, I did make 3 of these. I just did not want it to bore you with the same thing over and over and over. I also would like to mention, if you are stopping by my channel from Sandra's, welcome. If you're stopping by my channel for the very first time, or even returning subscriber, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. If you are not subscribed, I would love it if you considered subscribing and making sure that notification bell is on, so that way you get notified when I post my DIYs. I typically post once a week, trying to be on schedule. I have tons of inspirations that I would like to share. Sometimes I am a little bit short on time. time. So make sure that bell notification is on, so that way you get notified when these videos pop up, because I would absolutely love to have you be part of my YouTube family. And here you can find lots of high-end decor dupes, as well as some furniture makeovers and Dollar Tree DIYs here and there. So like I said, I hope you consider subscribing and becoming part of my YouTube family. So about 15 minutes later, I am just finishing it up, and then I'm going to move on to my picture and finish that project up so it had time to dry. And now I'm going to add another coat of this chalk paint, and then I'm going to do another technique on it while it's still wet. I absolutely love doing any type of vase or pitcher, even like bottles, and make them over. I love doing makeovers, because I think these items can be so expensive, and sometimes you can get similar look, sometimes even the same look, for fraction of the price. You can find lots of different types of vases at thrift stores. Even dollar stores carry interesting styles of vases. I had a lot of success this year at garage sales, and it's just such an easy way to add high-end look to your decor. And with a little bit of paint, maybe a little bit of flour, a little bit of dirt, and you can create beautiful, beautiful pieces. So once it's painted, I'm going to add some to the same tray where I had my chalk paint, some chocolate brown acrylic paint, as well as some black acrylic paint. And then I'm going to use my crafting sponge that's wet, and I'm going to just mix the paint, kind of dab it on all the paints that are in there, and go over the whole vase with this sponge, almost like blending all the colors on it. I did a similar project a couple weeks ago on a smaller vase, but it's just amazing to see how similar techniques give you such different results and looks. So I'm going to just randomly cover the vase with this paint. In some spots I went heavy with the one paint and lighter with the other. The others time I went the opposite, and sometimes I just went very light with both colors together. And it's important to blend it really well together, so that way it looks like it's meant to be there. And then while the paint was still wet, after I was done sponging stuff on and blending it, I added some flour to it and just pretty much sprinkled flour all over the vase. It's okay if some areas you put more and some areas you put less, because you're going to be dusting the flour off once the piece is completely dried. I feel like the flour blends the color even more together, kind of ties everything in, and it gives it that stone aged look. So once it was completely dry, I just took a stippling brush, a brand new one, and just brushed most of the flour off. There was some stuff that stayed, and then I just took a rag and tried to rub a little bit off. You don't want to completely take it off, but you don't want big clumps, because it will be falling off on your furniture while you're using it for decorating. And here is what the vase looks like, or the picture looks like, or completed with the branches in it. And here is to remind you what I was trying to recreate. So this would have cost me over $300 if I was to buy it as is on this picture, but mine came in under $10 with all the supplies that I used. And there you have it, tons of amazing Pottery Barn inspired DIYs to decorate your home this fall. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a new DIY. Thanks so much for watching and happy crafting.